This is how you could bet parlays in the NBA and win 70% of the time. Now, if you guys watch my channel, you guys know I'm strictly against parlays in all aspects. But parlays that the general public does, which is minus 110 parlays and smashing them all together in 5-6 teams and trying to make a miracle happen. But what I'm about to show you right now is how in the NBA you could win a same game parlay at 70%. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Step one. What you want to do here is, just like I said, you want to realize that parlays is not the way to win long term. When you're putting 5 or 6 teams at minus 110 together, 5 or 6 players at minus 110 together, you're just hoping for a miracle to happen, which may happen, but long term, it's never going to pan out. So you just need to realize that. This is for sports bettors. This video is for sports bettors that can't get alternate lines. If you can't find alternate lines, this will help you out. This video will help you out, especially in player props. So let's get to step 2 now, what you're going to be doing. You need to be focused on player props. That is what this video is going to be about. It's going to be about a same game parlay, including a player prop. So what you want to do is you want to be able to find a player that has a 70% probability to go over his alternate PRA number, which is points, rebounds, and assists. So for example, I have one written down for you guys here. Giannis, he has an alternate PRA line of 44.5 points, rebounds, and assists, and let's say he has a 70% probability to go over that total number. As you can see right here, you find him at the sportsbook. That sportsbook right there is DraftKings that shows minus 260 over 44.5. Well, let's say you don't have access to that. What do? How do you get something close to that number? How do you get the same thing with not having really access to that sportsbook? That is what I'm about to show you here. So let's get to step 3. You want to write down all of Giannis's averages on the year. So like this example here, he's averaging 32.9 points per game. He's averaging 11.9 rebounds per game and 6.6 assists per game. So you want to have that written down because it's very important, because you have to refer back to this once we get to the later steps here. You want to make sure that you're referring back to his averages because it's very important. Okay, if you're just out there just taking random numbers, not knowing what his averages are and stuff like that, you are not going to be successful with doing this. So you need to understand, when it comes to sports betting and it comes to being analytically correct, you cannot miss anything. You have to have everything written down. If you have to do it old school way, trust me, I still do it old school way. I pull out a pen and a paper as I'm going through stuff and I write stuff down. If you got to do it that way, you got to do it that way. All right, focused on the same game parlay tab, because this is what you're going to be able to do. Almost every single sports book, offshore, US books, all that, they all provide same game parlays now. Pretty much all of them do. So you should be able to do this at any sports book that you have available. So you navigate to that same game parlay tab. Next thing you're going to do here is you're going to take each stat that he has, his alternate over in the same game parlay. So maybe right off the bat that sounds a little bit confusing, but this is what you need to do. So take a look at this example that I have right here. This is an example of a same game parlay ticket right here. This is Giannis. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're going under his averages in each category to bet somewhat close to what his overall PRA number is. So now remember what his PRA number was. It was 44.5. All right, and that was at minus 260. So it was 44.5 at minus 260. Let's take a look at his averages again. 32.9 points per game. So what do we want to do? We want to take his points. As you can see right there where it says Giannis is to score 25 plus points. So you're going way under his average there. All right. So if he has a 70% probability to go over his PRA number, obviously he has a good matchup. So what does this mean? This means that if he should definitely get his averages at least across the board, if not go above his averages. So right now we've undercut his average scoring from 32.9 to 25 plus. All right, that's almost 8 points below what he averages. So he just needs to get 25 plus points to check off that category. Now let's take a look at his assists. His assists are 6.6 is what he averages on the season. What are we gonna do? We're gonna take his assists 4 plus. So it means if he gets 4 assists, then you win that category. So you're going pretty much almost 3 assists under his average there. So you have an advantage. See what I'm saying here? If you're catching my drift as I'm coming along here, you are trying to get under his averages, so that way he has a good matchup, obviously, if he has a 70% probability to go over his PRA number, that he's going to at least get to his averages. If he gets to his averages in each category, you win here. All right, let's look at his rebounds. His rebounds, he averages 11.9 rebounds per game. So what do we do here? We go ahead and we take 8+ rebounds. That's almost 4 below what his average is. So right now, if you add all those up, you got Giannis 4+ assists, 25+ points, 8+ rebounds. If you add those up, you get what? 41 as a PRA. That is 3 below what his alternate PRA number is. And you get better odds, because at -260, if you put $1,000 down at -260, it doesn't pay out 524. So just eyeballing here with those odds, that's about -180 to -190 is what you're getting. So you're getting better odds and a lower PRA number. The only thing that is different here is that he needs to meet those in each category. As for a PRA alternate number, he could score 45 points and then 0 assists, 0 rebounds, and he surpasses that 44.5 number. But you're taking a little bit of a risk that he'll get each average, at least get his average in each category. That's the risk here that you're taking by doing a same game parlay. And what you're doing here is taking under his averages. So if he doesn't excel in one of his categories and doesn't meet his average, then yeah, you will lose that bet. Because like I said, he could have 45 points with 0 rebounds, 0 assists. I mean, the odds of that happening obviously is very, very low, but that is where you are vulnerable with this strategy here. You do get better odds though. Like I said, you get better odds and you get an overall lower number. So you get a lower number than what that total alternate PRA is at -260 of what they gave you there at DraftKings for that example. So let's go ahead and take a look at that one more time. You can see the alternate line here for Giannis, 44.5 is -260. That's for him to go over. But what we did was take all his categories in separate sections and just same game parlayed them. Now it is a parlay in essence, but you're pretty much just betting his PRA over. It's basically one player that you're playing. So it's a parlay, but it's really not. So it's not like you're taking 3 different players and putting them on a same game parlay. You're doing the same player, but each stat category. So each stat category, you're giving this pretty much as like eyeballing it. You're giving like an 80% to 90% shot in each category that he's going to reach that, because you're undercutting way under his averages in a good matchup that he's going to have. So the ideal thing here of what you're looking for is a player to have a great matchup and you're undercutting his averages. Once you're undercutting all of his averages, if he just reaches his averages in a good matchup, then you're going to easily win this. There's going to be no problem with this. And you will win 70% of the time doing this. And with odds fluctuating between -180 to -200, -210, you're good. You will profit long term with that. All right. So now understand the logic behind this. The logic behind this is mostly for people that don't have access to that alternate number. But even if you do have access to that alternate number and you want to take a shot at getting a little bit lower odds, like I said, instead of paying -260 for 44.5, you could possibly get a -180, -190 for his PRA to be 41.5, but he has to reach each category that you set out. You do have a shot at doing that. Now, what do I always suggest? I always suggest if you have access to the number, just bet the number, all right? But a lot of people don't, or they can't find the number and they can't figure out how to do that. This is more complicated than trying to figure out to find that one category for alternate player combos, all right? But again, you could do this and it will give you lower odds on one player. Now, keep this to one player, all right? You do not take 3 different players and do 3 different categories and make it a 9-team same game parlay. You do not do that, all right? You do one player and the max should be 3 pretty much plays in there, because it should just be points, rebounds, and assists. There's nothing else that you should be doing. And then, like I said, the logic behind this is you are pretty much getting a lower PRA number. Just got to get it in each category. He has to hit every category here, points, rebounds, and assists. He has to reach his number, but you're getting better odds and better overall PRA. So overall, you will be able to hit this at 70% over the long term. And with odds of fluctuating between -170, -180, up to -210, you will be successful. All right, so this is a same game parlay strategy that wins at 70% or more. You just got to pick and choose exactly the right players that have the highest probability of reaching their PRA on any given night. And guess what? You're going to sit back and you're going to enjoy, and you're actually going to be able to win a same game parlay rather than donating, taking guesses, and thinking that you're going to turn $10 into $1 million. Because guess what, guys? In the end, that just doesn't happen. All right, no matter how many times you see it posted on Twitter, you see it posted anywhere else on Instagram, guess what? It's just a trap for them to take your money. These are the ways to actually make money, the ways that I show you in my videos day in and day out. So as long as you guys are watching this channel, you're subscribed, and you guys are paying attention to the videos that I show you, guess what? You are going to be a winning sports bettor, and you'll be part of that 3% that actually makes money sports betting.